about personnel issues. Right now, I'd like to recognize any resident or taxpayer of this area school district wishing to address the board about title programming or any other matter or concern or interest properly raised in public session. All right. I'd like to recommend the board approve the minutes of the June 28th, 2021 meeting as presented in Exhibit A.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the board approve the minutes of the August 2nd, 2021 special meeting of the Board of Directors as presented in Exhibit B.
Motion. Second.
The motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Instruction, Mrs. Agnew.
The Curriculum Instruction Committee meeting will be held on August 10th, 2021 at 5:30 in the admin conference room. Then I'd like to make a motion to recommend the board retroactively approve the education service agreement between the Sayre Area School District and Beacon Light Behavioral Health Systems effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022 as presented in Exhibit C.
So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just have a quick question. I read through the agreement, but did I read it right that this is so if we send students down to the Beacon Lake facility, they haven't moved into our district, right?
Correct.
Still in Ulster?
Correct.
Okay. I didn't know if they shifted somewhere, so thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the board approve the revised 2021-2022 health and safety plan as presented in Exhibit D.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This is where if anything changes, we can still make changes, right? Or if we have to change, or is that set the way it is?
What's that? Sorry. I didn't follow that.
The sun is in your eye, you
Yeah.
could hear it. The safety plan, is that in place, but if something drastically changes, we can still make changes to it?
Right, we have to update it or review it every 6 months, but if something changes, we can go in anytime for a
Okay.
board meeting and
Okay.
change it.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the board approve Regina Edgerton to attend the EQUIP Online Learning Conference virtually on August 16th to the 17th, 2021, at no cost to the district.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the board approve Michelle Morrell to attend the Comprehensive Mental Health for School Conference virtually on September 17th, 2021 and November 27th, 2021 at no cost to the district.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I guess I should clarify that is for my mental health along with like the rest of the kids in the district to go along with the social and emotional learning. The course is taught by Eileen Sparduti. It's the second round, so it will go right in tandem with that SEL piece that we're going to offer.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Athletics and Recreation, Ms. Wayman.
All right, so there's actually going to be an Athletics and Recreation Committee meeting on August 12th. That's going to be the next meeting, August 12th, 2021 at 6:30 in the Junior Senior High School Library.
Aaron, 6:30 or 5:30?
I think it's,
Good question. Okay.
I think she said 5:30.
5:30, thank you.
All right, coaches. Recommend the individuals listed below be employed as coaches for the 2021-2022 sports season. Caitlin Garrity, junior varsity girls Zachary McCutcheon, assistant junior high football coach, with Teresa Horton, junior high cheerleading advisor. And that's a motion.
So I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, so volunteers as well. Recommend the individuals listed below be granted permission to volunteer for the 2021-2022 sports season. Larry Hannafin, Derek Watkins, Andrew Yakunovich, Philip Green, all for volunteer football coach, Elizabeth Higley and Laura Burke as volunteer volleyball coaches. And that's a motion.
We have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Building and grounds, Mr. Hickey.
We did have a meeting scheduled for the 16th. It's going to get moved to the 23rd at 5 o'clock in the administrative conference room.
And just to give a brief update on a couple of the building and ground projects from the summer, the fire alarm system, well, both systems, we've run into some issues with the companies getting equipment that they need, mostly computer chip type things. The fire alarm is slated to be done now the end of October. What they're telling us is it's basically going to be 90% done at the start of school, but the enunciators at both buildings are on delay, so they're not scheduled to come till late October. So our old system is still up and running. We'll just go with that until the new system's 100% up. So that's delayed, and then we're doing the lighting project at Snyder. That's moving along. We will probably be delayed there as well because they're having trouble finding light poles and LED lights that meet our specs. So they are moving with that. They've got a lot of the electrical out, or a lot of the holes outside dug or drilled through. So they're working their way from the lower level, and I think they made it up into the upper level starting today. So they're working on that to get it done. The inside work for that project's done, but we may be in a little bit of a hold there, waiting for lights and actual posts. And then the final thing is we had sent out a request for proposal late June, early July about a building facilities study. We received one reply to that request for proposal from Keystone Associates in Binghamton. I've reviewed their information. Basically, it's all there in terms of what we requested. As part of the process, the timeline had that they would come to the meeting on the 23rd and do a presentation, so I'll confirm that in the next couple of days and make sure that they come, on the 23rd to kind of present what they're proposing, and then we'll go from there. And I think we had a tentative vote on the timeline scheduled for the September 9th board meeting if everything goes according to approval. So, building and grounds updates.
Thank you very much, Mr. Claypool. Anything else from buildings and grounds? Finance, Mr. Hickey.
Okay, the next meeting of finance will be November 9th at 5:30, administrative conference room. We could make a motion to recommend the bills for payment listed in Exhibit E be ratified and approved as presented. That's a motion.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion about the bills? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'm going to make a motion that the board approve the service agreement between Sarah Area School District and Career Development Council Incorporated for the 2021-2022 school year as presented in Exhibit F.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So I'd like to recommend the board approve a leave of absence for Mrs. Renee Haggerty for the 2021-2022 school year, beginning on August 18th, 2021 through the last day of the school for the 2021-2022 school year.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the board retroactively approve the leave of absence for Miss Laura Prescott beginning May 3rd, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the board approve unpaid leave as requested by Deborah Frisk, paraprofessional, from September 7th, 2021 through September 24th, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the board rescind the approval of Tyler Knight from Nichols, New York as a paraprofessional for the 2021-2022 school year.
Motion.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the individuals listed below be granted permission to volunteer during band camp. Nathan Romano and Lauren Kroll.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the board approve the resignation of Denise Horton as a cafeteria manager at H. Austin Snyder Elementary School effective July 25th, 2021.
So.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just because Alice isn't here, Danae did a great job in the cafeteria. She always communicated very well, so she'll be greatly missed at Snyder. So just thank you for all that she did.
I'll ditto that.
What's that?
She wanted to go down to Custodian. Okay.
All right. Any other discussion?
No, I do agree with Mrs. Burrell. She's gonna be missed in the cafeteria. Great work. Great work.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the board retroactively approve Denise Horton, Sarah PA, as a full-time custodian effective July 26th, 2021.
I'll make that a motion.
I'll second that. Glad to keep her on our team.
Very little bug.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the board approve Julie Marhefka? Marhefka, thank you,
You're welcome.
from Gillette, PA, as a teacher for the start of the 2021-2022 school year, August 18th, 2021. She will be assigned to H. Austin Elementary School as the 5th grade teacher.
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome aboard, Julie. So I'd like to recommend the board approve Cassandra Morrell of Sarah, PA, as a teacher for the start of the 2021-2022 school year. Starting August 18th, 2021, Ms. Morrell will be assigned to the H. Austin Elementary School as a 4th grade teacher.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome aboard, Cassandra. I'd like to recommend the board approve Casey Williams of Sarah, PA, as a teacher for the start of the 2021-2022 school year, starting August 18th. Ms. Williams will be assigned to Sarah High School as a special education teacher.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is this a new position in high school, or do people shift around? 'Cause I thought someone moved from the high school to the, I don't know, the elementary, is that just replacing one of them, or?
So people did shift a little bit.
Okay.
We ended up splitting a person between between the Snyder Elementary and the high school. So that this position is refilling
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome to you, Casey. I'd like to recommend the board approve Tara Ramsey of SARE as a teacher for the start of the 2021-2022 school year, starting August 18th. Ms. Ramsey will be assigned to SARE High School as an English teacher.
Oh, I was just gonna jump in. Tara, you guys, I'll tell you in a second.
Any discussion?
Thank you. I was waiting for that. I got ahead of myself. She is with us this evening. Some of you may recognize her as Tara Gloss. She's been in the Valley for a long time, and both she and Cassie on the agenda here are making me feel rather old, as I gave both of them diplomas. So I believe this is the first time that's happened, and welcome, Tara.
Glad to have you back. Glad to say that.
Maybe you guys should
Hire
vote
our
first.
alum.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome. So I'd like to recommend the board approve professionals listed below as mentors for the 2021-2020 school year. Amanda Melanowski for Cassandra Morel, Lucy Lyons for Julie Marhefka, Christine Arena for Casey Williams, and Rihanna Powers for Tara Ramsey.
Second.
Motion to second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the board retroactively approve the hiring of summer custodians to work from July 26th, 2021 through August 13th, 2021. Michaela Horton and Joseph Petrini.
Motion.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I abstain. Motion carries. So I recommend the board approve the individuals listed below as bus and/or van drivers for the 2021-2022 school year. For Chambers Bus Company, Bonnie Rogers, Jason Chandler, Tracy Chilson, Linda Johnson, Greg Wilson, Mike Chambers, Dustin Chambers, Jody Straight, Rebecca Bump / Chilson, Jamie Chandler, and Crystal Buckland.
Motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. For D&J School Bus Company, they have William Ebone, Stacy Tappan, Dustin Millard, Deb Agnew, Jeff Agnew, Donald Millard, Terry Dearborn, Tacey Baggerly, and Bob Kistner.
On the next page. One more.
And one more on the next page, Tara Agnew.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Can I just jump in real quick and say these look like big lists, but the vast majority of people on both of those lists are substitute drivers, meaning that they're not around very often, but every once in a while they may be able to work, just for informational purposes.
So if you know anybody who wants to drive a bus.
Yes, so thank you to them, because it might be the hardest job.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
with
it is.
other drivers, the weather, the kids.
Yep.
So thank you to those who step up to that challenge.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain. Okay. Abstain.
All right. So for SARE area school district drivers, we have James Jones, Candy Dixon, Priscilla Searles, Michael Zimmer, Stephen Satterley, and Aaron Kroll.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Thanks to these folks as well. They're driving the school vans, right? So,
Yep.
thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That was a lot. Mr. Cole, community relations, what do you have for us?
Oh, short list. Meeting tomorrow night, administrative conference room at 6:30 p.m. Just a couple of dates to keep in mind. Our homecoming is October the 10th. Sure, we'll be getting some last minute things done for that tomorrow evening. And don't forget about the SARE area's school district's foundation scavenger hunt coming up on September the 18th. That's going to big area of our school district where people come and have some fun and learn about some fun history to say.
Thank you for that. Satterley Creek, Mrs. Agnew?
We've still got a lot of people here and there using up there. We're hoping to get, we've got some trees that have come down over some of the trails. We're hoping some people, Boy Scouts or otherwise, volunteer to help get some of that cleaned up, but otherwise it's looking pretty good. We've got the walk for the wellness community relation that we're gonna do up there October the 2nd. Michelle has a little bit more information. You want to do that in your report, or you want to talk about it?
I can just speak to it now. On October 2nd from 10 to 2, the Satterley Creek Environmental Festival, or the Satterley Creek Environmental Center. We're going to have a fall festival. It's going to be a variety of activities that everybody can participate in. We're going to meet later this week. We have an environmentalist that's going to talk to us about how they can take us on tours through some of the trails, look at some of the wildlife that lives out there, along with the animals that are living around the creek. He'll be doing, did he say 20-minute, I think, tours? We have to finalize that a little bit, so just stay tuned. We'll be sending out an informational flyer. We hope to have some activities for the kids, like some pumpkin painting, maybe some kind of apple making contest. So start thinking of those apple recipes that you have, and we also are having an apple scavenger hunt, kind of like Easter egg hunt, but only we're going to use apples. So lots of good things that we have to discuss and outline. So we'll be ready to go October 2nd, 10 to 2, Satterley Creek. Mark your calendars. Ron, mark it down in your calendar.
Get that calendar out, Ron.
We used to do the chili cook-off. Can't we do an apple pie competition?
Well, we figured it'll be something with apples, so maybe like apple crisp, apple pie, apple upside down cake. We're not quite sure. So we're going to finalize some of those things, and we'll come back with more specifics with that.
Wednesday night, Ron, remember the meeting?
Ron, 5:30, Riverfront. Don't go to
Wednesday night
Litchfield.
is the meeting, remember?
Oh, I'm gonna be late.
Okay. All right.
He didn't show up for the last one, remember? So we had to remind him. Anyway, thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
That's all for that.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Agnew, Mrs. Morel. So the Technology Committee meeting will be held on August 16th at 6:30 in the Administrative Conference Room. And Mr. Claypool's got an update on some technology stuff for us as well.
Yeah, just a couple of updates on technology, and we're running kind of into some of the same issues as I mentioned in buildings and grounds with things. We, at this point, just received our new servers and backup systems, so we don't know that they'll be installed prior to the start of school, but QuestTech, the folks out in Pittsburgh, have told us that they, have done a lot of installs after the school year started, and that they typically run fairly smoothly. I know. But there are a couple of pieces of hardware that they're still waiting for with that. Video cameras, we've put an order in for, I think, 30 more video cameras here at the high school. We already have a bunch. Back in July, late June, we walked around the building with tech, maintenance. Mr. Howie was involved. Officer Flynn was here as well, and looked at all the areas of the building that could use some better or additional coverage. So that's going to happen, but cameras are delayed, so it will happen when the cameras come in. We don't even have an estimate on arrival for cameras at this point. The cabling has been started and should be finished by the end of this week for that project. It should also be finished this week for the additional access points to go through the buildings, and we've received those, we have those. So once we get the cabling on that, then we can put all of that together and have that in. So we're hopeful that that'll happen, sometime in the next 4 weeks. It's just coordinating QuestTech to come out and do their piece, and then the cable folks to actually hook up the access points. So so we're getting close on that one. And our carts for our BenQ boards are supposed to come today or tomorrow. However, we spent a good chunk of the day trying to check the tracking on those, and it says they've been shipped, but the tracking wasn't working to say exactly where they are, so they're somewhere between here and California. But we don't know where they are at this particular moment in time. And along with that, for the ones that we were going to install on walls, we still haven't gotten the brackets for that. They're supposed to be here in another week or so, but they were also supposed to be here 3 weeks ago, so we'll see. Maybe that we have to put all the BenQs on carts to start the year and then put them in, set them up in the rooms for those teachers who want them installed on the walls, once the year starts. So I think that's all the tech updates at this time, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Claypool. So moving on to principals' reports. Mrs. Morel.
I didn't want to overwhelm y'all with too much reading material, so I will bring my family newsletter to you next week. So it's on my agenda to share with you. Just a reminder that there's free breakfast and lunch. Will continue for the upcoming school year for our students, so we encourage the kids on their way in. Breakfast will be the same. It'll be a grab and go, and they can take it right to their classrooms. As Mr. Claypool mentioned, there's lots of exciting projects going on at Snyder today. The new vinyl planking floor was installed in the art room. The carpet had, after many, many years, was just not going to hold up. So that was installed, and they told me they'd finish about 5 o'clock today. The fire alarm system is well underway. The strobe lights work well. They were tested for over an hour today, so they flashed throughout the building, so I can attest that they do work. The outside speakers, Mr. Claypool and I walked around, so we're happy to announce that the outside speakers are installed so that we can make announcements both inside and outside of the building when the annunciator comes. They did start trenching the lines for the new lights. I don't know if there was an update, but the gentleman told me today he plans on having the bucket truck come on Friday and installing the pole lights in the upper parking lot. So I don't know if that has changed. The new BenQ interactive boards have arrived. I have an older model one in my office. If you'd like to come and see my wallpaper, it's blue and yellow with a big M on it. So you're invited to come and stop by and see that if you're in. Our lines are scheduled to be painted by the Walker and Bus Circle lines before the first day of school. Very excited, we finalized the social studies order for K to 6 this year, so we'll have a new social studies curriculum. I talked about the fall festival, and the carpets have been shampooed and steam cleaned, so thank you to Mr. Claypool and his staff. The new steamer that we got really did a great job and brought that carpet back to life. I do want to thank Richie and his staff at Snyder. It's come to a point where I call him or talk with him, and I'll start to say, well, we need this, and he'll answer the phone now and say, yes, Michelle, we got it, we're on it. I did call him the other day, and he goes, I'm up in a tree, what do you need? So he always answers. He's always, looking to keep that school clean. In fact, he did borrow the lift and dusted the outer perimeter of the gym cafetorium the other day, including the signs. So it does look pretty spectacular. So just thank you for all of their efforts and attention to detail. So I encourage the kids to wipe their feet off when they come into school. Mr. Satterley will be watching. So that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Morel.
You're welcome.
Mr. Handry.
So everybody has the high school snapshot, which went out to families and staff last week. I'll just hit on a couple things. We're running 3 different period schedules this year, one for 7th, one for 8th, and one for 9th through 12th. We're making the change to move to more of a middle school model within the high school. We're going to try it with no bells to minimize interruptions. We'll see how that works. Once again, all students will receive a device, a laptop this year. They'll receive their devices on the first day of school in their first period class. As mentioned, we're excited for the interactive whiteboards. I took the senior class officers, they were here for a meeting. We went down, we played around with one in the business office, and even as seniors, they were excited about it, and we're looking forward to getting to use those. The high school admin team participated. We were selected, invited, asked, I guess, I don't know, second cohort of graduation improvement through the state, specifically Patan. It's designed to improve graduation rates, especially for students with disabilities. So we'll form a team that's going to look at that, and they're going to give us some specific strategies, as well as some money that we'll get to use to focus strictly on that, supporting those students. Ray and his crew get the building closer every day. Just every day, of course, we keep throwing things at them, like having events on the weekends and 2 consecutive weekends, but they're managing. They'll get there. Also at your placemats, you should have a letter from Dr. Delosio that went out to all families and parents and teachers this afternoon. That is it for me, Pete.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes.
Couple things. Doing the emergency card on Skyward is so easy. And I was saying it to other parents to update it, but maybe we need to push that because they're like, what do you mean I can do that on Skyward?
I'm not sure where Mrs. Brewer, she returns tomorrow or
So just push it
Wednesday.
because it's so simple and I'm sure that the, return rate is gonna be amazing because it's so easy to do. Your information's already there, you just have to make changes. But if you guys could really push that, that would be good. And there was some confusion, can kids get in at 7:45 or 7:55? It's very clear to me in this
Yes.
newsletter, but I guess to some others it isn't, so.
Yeah, the only kids that should be in the school are our students that ride school transportation, bus students, and kids that are eating breakfast. I don't want to go back to where we had, everybody kind of in the hallway and in here during the pandemic. Last year it worked very well. We opened the doors 5 minutes. Everybody got to where they needed to be. So we're going to try that again. But yes, this is just for kids eating. And the other thing that I didn't mention, we are really kind of making a push for is for parents to make sure that their cell phones are up to date. We are going to try to do a lot more messaging through text messages, and the only time you would get a phone call is if it's an extreme emergency or we're closed. So that's going to be a push in the next couple weeks as we transition to more of an SMS or text system.
Yes, and I would also say on top of that, please make certain that you set your voicemail box. If you do have a cell phone, please don't call the school if you miss a Skylar or let it go to voicemail. There's approximately 500 kids at both schools, and for 2 secretaries at my elementary building and Mr. Hendrick's secretaries to try and manage those phone calls when they say, I just missed a call, what did it say? It's not that we're not trying to help you, but it just gets a little bit overwhelming. So please set up your voicemail or set up your cell phone so that it can go to a text and receive that. We would greatly appreciate that on parents' part. So thank you for that.
Great information.
Anything else, principals?
Well, family ID, still sign up for fall sports.
Family ID is still open. We've seen a slight uptick in a couple sports, and as kids have realized with the acclimation starting today for football, they're like, oh my gosh, it's here. So, yes. Yep.
And I learned, I didn't know this, for parents that might need it, you can do a sports physical right at walk-ins, and they even have the forms over there if you forget your form, the lady told me, so where they got it ready for you, so get over there and get your physical and participate.
All right, thank you very much for all that. Special education grant report, Dr. Tejan.
So special education staff are planned, scheduled to attend a level of literacy intervention, professional development for 2 days, during the professional development days, with Dr. Kathy Wilcox, so we're really excited about that. We also have an inclusive practices training for all staff, which will help to provide teachers with some strategies and increase opportunities for special education population to spend a little more time in a regular ed setting. In terms of grants, currently working on the ESSERS 3 grant, trying to get that submitted. And last update, 21st Century will remain at Snyder Elementary in the fall, and the start date for that is September 7th. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tejan. Last IU, Mrs. Agnew.
We do not have July, so I don't really have very much except to say that this Thursday, I think it is the 12th, I think it's Wednesday, I remember now. The variety that I talked about the last couple of years where Blast works with Variety. Trish, I think you remember this from last year. Students can get a stroller or bike specially designed for their needs. They are doing that in Canton in just a couple of days. I can't remember if it's Wednesday or Thursday. I don't know if you got any info on it. This year, I think this is the first year Sarah does not have a student that was getting one, but we've been very fortunate up to now. We've got several kids that they just love what they get from them. So that's wonderful that they do that.
Yes,
But
one of our
otherwise-
students rode and visited us on their bike the
Yeah.
other day. She came and visited. It
Really?
was very exciting, yes. It was
Yeah.
very easy to maneuver through the parking lot, so, yes,
Yeah,
it's a
they
great
design
thing.
them specially
Yep.
for their needs.
It was great.
So it's wonderful, yeah, so that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. And TCC report, Mr. Cole.
And like Mrs. Agnew, we didn't have a meeting in July, so a short report. Sort of keep it like that. August the 18th, 6:30 p.m. our next meeting, and we're going to be doing it at the Northern Tier Career Center. That's the first time in, let's see, it's been about a year and a half now, so we couldn't be back live. Well, at least that's the plan right now. Let's just say that. Also, August 19th, the Thursday night at Tawanda High School, practical nursing graduation will take place, again at 7 p.m. And I can tell you that the parking lot is completely paved and striped and ready to go. And so far, everything looks like the buildings are going to be ready to go, fully, after the renovations and stuff that they did last year. So, looks like everything's a go for 2021-22 school. And I'm up again, right, Mr. Creed?
Yes, sir.
So then I'll tell everybody that the PSBA Charter School Reform for Special Education is now being backed by a representative from Monroe County. So that's a kind of a plus in our hat. Hopefully we'll see some charter school reform coming up hopefully during the next session or sessions as we look forward to any time between September and June of next year. Also, I want to make mention that there are more new badges available from the MyPSBA website for board education, and the PSBA conference September 27th through 29th is at the Kalahari Resort down in the Poconos. I just passed by there today, and I can't wait. So, but other than that, all board members are welcome, and that's everything I have for PSBA.
All right, Mr. Cole, thank you very much for that. As far as my report, I'd just like to say congratulations and welcome aboard to all the new hires. The cafeteria floor looks absolutely amazing. You're doing a great job. I got a mirror to finish and see my reflection. And we might have to work on a policy there, Mrs. Morel, about, no blue and gold colors in your office. But other than that, that's all I've got. Dr. Delosio?
I do have a couple things if you'll let me. Thank you. Mrs. Morel, am I loud enough?
Sure.
Okay. So I wanted to share with the board that today 2 newsletters went out. The Redskin Review went out to the staff, and the Sayer Snapshot went out to the families. I did connect with Nathan earlier today, and asked him to make copies and have them ready for the board. So I'm sure that you have them in front of you. And some of you as parents probably did receive the Sayer Snapshot in your email today. I wanted to review and share that the summer rec program went well through the summer, and the summer reading program that we added this year. So Sharon Hildebrand oversaw the summer reading program. We had 2 teachers, Megan Jarvis and Cindy Shiotti, that helped with that program. All students either reinforced their skills or grew a level on their reading skills in that 6-week program. And I was able to give all of the results to Mrs. Morel, and she prepped them, and they're ready for the teachers upon their return. So it was really nice to see the growth and the ability just to reinforce those skills and keep the levels. We didn't have anybody sliding back on the reading program that or their reading level was that participated in that program this summer. So that was quite exciting. For anyone out there in the community that's listening, we will be sending a text this Thursday, the 12th, at 5 p.m. from our Skylert company opt into our text messaging. I will be doing a voicemail, Skylar, to give everybody that information, and an email, but there will be a text on the 12th at 5 p.m. and everyone would need to reply with a Y or the word yes to continue in on that program and receive text messages through our Skylar system. So that'll be coming out later this week. I probably am going to reiterate something that someone already said, but I did want to say that, we're really excited that we received the 86-inch BenQ interactive boards. I know the teachers can't wait to get their hands on them. There are 3 different mountings that are happening. The board saw in my conference room today, or the administrative conference room today, that if you have a concrete wall, you can mount it directly to the wall with the system that was sent with the board. If it's a classroom that has a whiteboard, and the teacher wanted it wall mounted, we needed to purchase an overhang. We're waiting for them to come from the company yet. And then there are multiple teachers, close to 70, that wanted mobile stands, and those are supposed to come in sometime this week. If you're hearing any background noises, there's 2 little puppies in the background. Michelle is smiling, so I'm not sure if you can hear that outside the door. I totally speak, sorry about that. I'm really excited for the social studies curriculum, Sabbath learning. I really am more than pleased that the 3 teachers that participated in the social studies curriculum this past year pilot helped us select Sabbath learning, and we'll be having training in the first opening PD days about that program. And we're moving forward with a company called Move This World for our social emotional learning for K-12 at the beginning of every school day, just to get reconnected to our students and to build that bridge back connection that we do a great job with here in Sayre. The professional development schedule for the first 4 days is filled with inclusive practices, moving to the next step of our Ed Insight program, how to use those BenQ boards, data analysis on results of local data, state data that we might have available to us. The LOI program will be overseen by special education. Mr. Claypool will be doing health, safety, and wellness during his presentation. We'll have, again, the social studies curriculum. Teachers will have time for department head meetings and some time in their classrooms to get ready. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody had that information, and we have a special company called Sweethearts and Heroes that's coming in as well. So I'm looking forward to welcoming the staff back next Wednesday, and then I'm looking forward to welcoming our student body back the following Tuesday on the 24th. Thank you, Mr. Petrini.
Thank you very much. And with that, do we have anything else? Ladies? Press?
Move for adjournment.
Have a good night, guys. Thank you very much.